Welcome back to another edition of In the Game interview series. Today we have with us Ryan Huber. Ryan, why don't you give us a little background on your playing, coaching experience, where you're at now, and what led you to that position?
Yeah, so I grew up in Durham, played for the original Carolina United Soccer Club, which then turned into Triangle Football Club later in my high school career. And then in college, I went and I played 2 years at Lewisburg College, junior college, and then finished up at Guilford College. And then after I graduated, Coach Bateson there gave me the opportunity to join his staff. So I was on his staff for a season before going back to Lewisburg for 2.5 years. And while there, we got to the national semifinals. And then from there, I went to North Carolina Wesleyan for 6 years. And then an opportunity to be a head coach at William Peace opened up. And I've been here for 3 years now.
Very nice, very nice. Have you had, what have your experiences in the club game been like?
Not too much as far as like in the club. I did when I was at Guilford. I started doing stuff with Gusa back then, and then I didn't coach club when I was at Lewisburg, and then my first couple years at Wesleyan, I was with PGSA for a year, and then I was with it was Castle then for I think 2 years. Before kind of stepping away from the club game and just concentrating on college game.
Very nice, very nice. So why do you coach? What is your big motivation for doing this?
I think my big motivation is getting through to players the same way that my college coaches did. I had the opportunity to play for Dave Sexton at Lewisburg and then Jeff Bateson at Guilford, and they're both unbelievable just people. It made a big impact on my life, not necessarily soccer-wise, but outside of soccer, and getting that opportunity to kind of get involved after I graduated. I kind of saw it as an opportunity that maybe I can try to make an impact on somebody's life the same way that they kind of impacted me and helped me kind of mature and grow up from being a punk teenager to hopefully being somebody that can actually contribute to society a little bit.
I can relate to that. What style of play do you like for your teams typically to play?
I mean, my favorite team is Barcelona. So I always say, and I always joke about it, and I used to joke with my old head coach at Wesleyan, with Frankie Tall, is I always want to be the Division III Barcelona. We want to play. We want to knock the ball, get a lot of guys involved. I'm a big fan of technical players and guys that are comfortable in tight situations. So ideally, we want to play a attractive attacking brand of soccer where we dictate the play. Obviously, there's times where you have to play ugly to win. I'd rather play ugly and win than play pretty and lose. So ultimately, it's what do we need to do to get the result. But if we can play an attractive brand where we're knocking the ball, getting a lot of numbers forward, that's the way that I prefer to play.
Defensively, on the other side of the ball, do you typically like to press? Do you like to play low block? What do you prefer?
I like to probably kind of a mixture of the two. I don't want to sit all the way in and just let teams just come at you. But I think sometimes if we high press, especially at our level, you can get exposed a little bit just from a discipline and organizational standpoint. So we're kind of a mixture of the two, but more so on the high press side. And obviously, the higher up you win the ball, the closer you already are to the other goal. My big thing with our group is we're going to be organized. You're going to work hard. And as long as our players buy into the way we want to defend, they kind of have the freedom attacking-wise. But it will probably be a mixture of the two, but a little bit more high press than just sitting in.
Okay. What's your favorite activity to do with your teams?
My favorite activity to do with my team is it's actually a game that I got from Coach Sexton at Lewisburg, and it's called Big Dogs and Whippersnappers. And it's a finishing exercise that we do. And we always do it the day before a match, and it's the last thing we do. And I think it's great for just overall morale because the guys, you have to have a good time when you're doing it. But basically, it's a ball is served in from the wings, and you have one touch to try to finish it, and it has to be out of the air. So the ball can't hit the ground, anything. So it's just first time out of the air. So you're getting a lot of opportunities just in front of the goal. You always see a lot of whiffs. You see some guys that hammer the ball. It's fun to jump in and do it, and I think it's a great drill. Obviously, it gets you better, but I think it's also a great way to end the session the day before a match on with a high morale.
Nice, very nice. What's your favorite coaching memory?
There obviously been a lot. I think that obviously my favorite ones have to be as a head coach. And so when I was at North Carolina Wesleyan, that we were always, I think 3 of my 6 years we played in the conference championship game. The year before I came to Peace, we won the conference. And then I came to Peace, and then my second year, within 2 years of being at Peace, we beat Wesleyan, which was an awesome kind of feeling, because we were playing against players that I recruited to go to Wesleyan. They had just won the conference. They had been to the NCAA tournament the year before, and beating them. And I think it was our first conference game of the year last year. And that's probably the most proudest moment I've probably had as a coach on the field, as a head coach, is beating the team that kind of has set the standard and where I had been for such a long time.
Very nice, very nice. What do you feel is the most important piece of being a coach?
For me, it's leading the way I would have want to have been led, and being the type of coach that I would have wanted to play for. And that means having an open door in the office where players feel comfortable, where they can just come in and shoot the shit, or they can come in and if they have serious issues or problems, they're comfortable to come in. When you get to the training grounds, have a joke, have a laugh before training starts, but as soon as it starts, everything's got to be serious. And understanding that there's a fine line between doing that and not all coaches are that way. But I think that's probably the most important thing for me, is just making sure I have a good relationship with my players, and I think they understand that it's not always going to be sunshine and butterflies, and they're going to get the picture of exactly what I want and my expectations. But there's no reason why we can't have a good time doing it as well.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Why don't you give us a little bit of background from you coming into Peace, and kind of where the program was when you took it over, and where you guys are at now, and where you hope to go?
Yep. So when I took over at Peace, it was a pretty new program. I think it was either in its 3rd or 4th year. The program started in 2013. They had a club season the first year, and then I think they had 2, maybe 3 NCAA seasons prior to me coming in. The coach before me, Coach Hoosman, he did a really good job with the resources that he had. He built a really good roster. Numbers were great. So I came into a situation where I didn't have to worry about – the program had already started. I didn't have to worry about starting the program. I didn't have to worry about numbers and building a roster. I had the ability to kind of focus on bringing in the players that I thought would help take us to the next level. So in those first 2 years, we brought in pretty big classes. I think the most wins in program history prior to me coming in was 6. In my first year, we won 6 games. And the team had never made the conference tournament. It had always finished last in the conference tournament. In my second year, we won 8 games, but we won, I think, 5 or 6 in conference, and we finished 3rd in the conference, made the conference tournament, and lost in the first round of the conference tournament. I want to say it was like 3-0 or 4-0. It wasn't a very close game. And then this past year, we set another program best with winning 9 games. We lost in the conference tournament, but we lost in double overtime. We were up 2-1 in the game, and so it's definitely continuing to make strides to improve. Going into next year, our expectation is we got to win a conference tournament game. That's the number one expectation, is win the first round conference tournament. I think we have the overall expectation that we can compete to win the conference, but you got to win a conference game before you can start talking about winning a conference tournament and going to the NCAA tournament. But I think long term, being at William Peace, being downtown Raleigh, playing all of our games at Wake Med, training every day at Wake Med, there's no reason why we can't compete with the best teams in the region long term. But it's a process, and you just got to get better year by year and take those baby steps. But I feel optimistic that this is a year where we can take a giant leap and put ourselves in that region picture.
Very nice. Very nice. What are you guys, not just yourself, but also your coaching staff there at Peace? What are you guys doing to kind of keep up with your players throughout this extraordinary situation? Like, are you sending them workouts? What are you doing? Zoom meetings, all that good stuff. What are you guys doing?
And this time's crazy. It's a unique situation to try to navigate with recruits, with your players. All of our players doing online classes. So what we've done, since we have a roster of about 30 players, and I'm fortunate to have a great staff with Coach Peralta and Coach Ortiz on the staff. So we're able to split the group into three. So we each have a weekly meeting with a third of our players. So we have three groups. I meet with my group every week, and each of them meet with their group each week via Zoom. So you have a little bit of face-to-face contact. Our strength and conditioning coach can send out a workout plan for our guys to be working on until obviously they'll have a new program in the summer. So just kind of staying up with the guys as much as we can. As the head coach, I try to reach out and speak with our guys as often as I can, but I also rely on our two assistants take a major role in continuing to stay up with our guys and communicate with them and keep everybody on the same page. Is going into the summer and then next fall without having a spring season is going to be really huge for us to make sure we're all kind of at the same spot.
Yeah, I think that's something that I'm definitely very, very interested in seeing, not just at our level at Division III, but also the Division IIs and Division Is, how not having a spring affects the beginning of the falls. Safely assuming that we're able to start in the fall. Well, optimistic that we're able to start in the fall, I guess. Well, very nice. Well, Ryan, we really, really appreciate you taking the time today to be a part of the interview series. And obviously, I get a firsthand look at what your program's doing. I think it's in a great spot, and I think there's greatness to come for sure. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.